Hello. Hi, everybody. It's so great to be here. VIP, glad to have you. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm going to wait a few minutes to let everyone pop in. And I hope this detox journey, this whole body detox, total detox journey, has been so supportive for you. We're on day 4. Wow, it happened so fast. So just pop in the chat where you're from. Hi, Jacqueline and Ruth VIP. Where are we all coming from? And the other piece that I want to ask you today before we kick off is I really want to know what has hit home for you. Where are you stepping into your journey and healing to make changes? And what are those changes? So drop it in the chat for me and just let me know. Like, we've covered so much amazing territory. I know sometimes I go fast. My little naturopathic brain is just so excited and I move quickly, and that's not always um my it just is. Like, I just get so excited. Denise, thank you. Welcome back. Welcome back. Southern California, and I know we have Arizona, Pennsylvania, I think. So, and I just would love to know, number one, any questions at all? Is there anything coming up for you after yesterday when we talked about the treatments? I know the treatments were a little challenging for you to, like, because I was buffering in and out, and now the phone's ringing. I apologize. I was buffering in and out. So Ani did go ahead and send the replay. So hopefully for those of you that struggled, I sincerely apologize. So internet has been so challenging lately here with all our thunderstorms and lightning storms. So I appreciate your patience. But what I really want to say before I get started on the mind emotional detox is, when I give you all this information and it feels so overwhelming, most people stop and they just are like, oh, she knows too much, so much. This is so much information. I haven't heard this before. I know a couple of you on here have. Everybody keeps coming in right now. So that's fantastic. Is it's it's really so important that you take one step at a time. So just because Sarah is here, Donice is here, Ruth is here, Jacqueline's here, and I'm not comparing anybody, I'm just you kind of like where people can be in different places. And maybe I happen to be way up here, but with love, I do this every single day. I thought of all of you today when I did colon hydrotherapy treatments with patients. And my take home is accountability and support. Like, you don't have to suffer anymore. And the fact that you're showing up here tells me that you want to make changes. So I'm going to pop over and look in the comments. So, oh, that's awesome. So I want to read. I don't know if you guys can see, some can see the comments, but Denise said, what hits home for me is your level of knowledge, and I'm not your average client. I'm loving up leveling what I know and what I do already, right? So there's an individual, like, Denise called out a couple days ago that she's 72 and she feels great. She's been doing whole nutrition. And so those changes that she's worked on her whole entire life, I bet if you had a conversation with her, or if I brought her up, she would say to you, like, it took me time to get here. When we make changes around our health, it's like riding a tricycle. When we first learn to get off of our tricycle and ride our bicycle, it's the same sort of thing. VIP is saying they like the dry brushing that I talked about. It can be so simple. And Jacqueline, I've been working on my nutrition. This is helping with further understanding how it all works in the body. Right. You know what I tell patients all the time? I love that, Jacqueline. I don't know if you're Jackie or Jacqueline, but I'm just going to call you Jacqueline because that's what your name says. So I try to be really like honest and with huge integrity and respect. Is what I love about that is I tell my patients all the time when I see them, and those that are on that are my patients know, I want you to understand. You get to understand why I'm suggesting doing all these steps, or why I'm, for example, suggesting like I don't want you to eat bananas. Let's just use that for an example. Or maybe there's an emotional piece where relationship toxicity keeps happening. And so we talk about how to adjust that and dance and make things better for ourselves. Because I don't care what you do, just like me, it takes us time to get there. But for me, connecting with you, my goal is to heal chronic disease. It's around us everywhere. And I just like am so passionate about this. It just brings tears. Like I want to cry right now because when I look around and the patients that I heal, I'm grateful they step into me and work with me. But what I want to say to you is that it doesn't matter. And if you feel like you've given everything up and nothing is working, I'm going to tell you that something is most likely working. I am actually on, give me a second. I am actually on my wrong Instagram account. So just give me 2 seconds, but something is 100% working. So the small changes that you make every single day and those adjustments that you make every single day are going to get you one step closer to where you're going. So I didn't wake up yesterday and create a clinic. I created a vision when I was in medical school. I knew what I wanted my clinic to look like. I had these dreams, I had these aspirations, I had a budget, and I took steps to get there. But I also had a mentor who is teaching me, who is another naturopath, who is the naturopath, Dr. James Dadama, that saved my life, and Dr. Ian Beer as well. And so I had these mentors that said, you get the piece of paper and then we'll really teach you how to do it. Like, so great, right? So that's how I knew with God that I was on my right path, right? Because remember, I suffered so many years. And, my birthday's next week. I'll be 55. And I always reflect back on how could have I done my health differently over the years? How could have I done it differently last year? What could have I stepped into my life, into my relationship? So you see, it's always a vision. And so vision of health is no different. However, if you don't have your health, then it's super challenging for you to step into your vision, right? Because if I'm just like a wet potato and I can't get out of bed, I'm exhausted and I'm sick, where's that going to get me? Probably nowhere. Or it's going to take me to get there very slow. So just like you, I have support and accountability. And this is really how I want to hit home because so many of us might be out grabbing business coaches or learning how to dance and coaches to teach us how to dance or yoga instruction or group exercise programs. But has anyone thought about hiring a chef to teach them how to cook natural health food if they like to cook? If they don't like to cook, have you ever thought about taking your budget and maybe putting some of that money towards having somebody teach you how to cook? Or maybe you're like 100% financially stable. Have you ever thought about having a chef come in and cook for you? You guys know my parents are in their late 80s. What is one of the first things that we did for my mom through COVID? We hired a chef to come in because my dad worked took his off when he was young and he created an amazing empire for himself. So he does not have to worry. I'm not there to tout because that's not who I am. But what I'm sharing is my mom needed support. So what's the first support we gave her? We found a vegan chef for her. My dad's not vegan, he's an O blood type, so then we feed him with proteins and we get proteins in. So is everybody on board with me? Like that support and accountability. I don't want you to suffer. And yes, you could like get on All My Lives and take the time to go there. But it's the effort that you do every single day. And many of you have been on My Lives before. So hopefully I'm hitting home. I just don't want you to suffer because you don't have to suffer. Is everybody on board with me? Like you can make these steps over and over. And I hope all of you have like a notepad or a journal because like Tonice mentioned, like I go quick, but you can always stop me. So I'm going to dive in. And what I'm asking all of you is please like drop information in the chat, drop questions in the chat as they come up. And every now and then I'm going to stop and I'll take a breather and I'll look at the chat and I'll answer your questions. Sound good, guys? Are we ready to rock and roll? All right, let's hit it. And then before I'm done, I still want you to all think, before I take my first little break, I want you to all think, what did you do the last couple days that you tweak some changes in your life? It could be around detox. It could be around nutrition. It could be taking a detoxifying walk. It could be hot and cold. I don't care, but let's start calling out what we're going to do because we know when you write it down, the brain writes it, connects it, and then you start thinking about it, you're more apt to do it. And I know this from doing what I do. All right. So let's talk about emotional and spiritual detox. So when we started off this on Monday, we started talking about what is cleansing. We started talking about how the liver is important and the gut is important and the skin is important to release and then the urinary tract to get all the toxicity out of the body that the body doesn't need. We're going to talk about the mental and emotional physical channels of elimination so that we can start to know how important our mind is. And how many times does our mind stop us? Whether it's emotions, whether it's somebody said something to us, whether it's like you thought you were going along and all of a sudden like a client or a customer called and like, boop, took you off your feet and you're like, where'd that come from? Or you get an emergency phone call and you're whipped in this direction. What I want you to remember is you can always pivot. Same here. It's all about getting that little mind. Our minds are so powerful and getting them on track. Because as we open the physical channels of elimination, we want to continue to start opening up the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual expressions. I don't 100% know my age group from everybody that's on right now. But what I know is as you step into your 40s and 50s, into your 60s, when you actually follow the birthing all the way up to around the ages now, this is when our spirituality, our intuition gets really strong, 40 and above. So you want to create spiritual and emotional expressions that help you grow, not that suppress you. So if you have that friend or that family member, and I'm not saying cut friends and family members out, maybe you want to set a boundary with them. Maybe you want to like limit your connection with them until you feel grounded and healthier. And I remember when I was on my health journey, I want to share something. And Dr. Dadamo said to me, if you stay, now I was in the apparel industry, if you stay in the job that you're in and you continue to heal, you're going to climb the corporate ladder really quickly. People are going to want to be around you. People are going to want to know what you're doing because your energy is going to be clearer. Your emotions are going to be clearer. You're going to be more present in your body and you're going to really look good, feel good, and look good. And I thought, this was when I really first started working with him, maybe 3 or 4 months in. And I thought, what's he talking about? Remember, like, what's he talking about, Willis? I was like, I don't know what he's talking about. Well, tell you what, I thought he was psychic for a second. But what I want to say to you is when you feed the body from the earth and nutrients dense food that God put us on this earth to eat, you start to think that way. Your skin starts to clear up. Talk about anti-aging. Anti-aging is eating well. It's not about popping Botox in your face. I'm not against what everybody wants to do. That's okay. I have no judgment. I'm not here to disrupt. But what I know is if you take really good care of your body, it all shows up in the emotions. And people want to be around you, and your life is easier because you don't have all that sludge and drudge in your brain and in your cells. So you want to limit your intake of mental and emotional irritants, irritating people. And you get to start to create healing thoughts, feelings, and feeling supported. We just talked about accountability. Who doesn't want to be supported? Who doesn't want to be in a community of like-minded individuals? Because I know when I step into those communities, they help me grow. I'm not going to go hang out at a bar if I don't want to drink alcohol. I'm not saying anything bad about a bar. But if I want to like learn how to be healthy or do a certain sport, I'm going to find somebody that knows how to do it. It's the same thing with your feelings and your healings and your support. So as you begin to cleanse your spiritual and emotional self, it becomes much less defined and more elusive than the physical self. But I kind of have some possibilities that I want you to think about, because probably right now you're going, huh? Just like I did when Dr. Dadamo said that to me. I was like, I'm still working the same. I'm still doing my same job. At that time, I was in a lower level of manufacturing, of product development, and I just didn't know what he meant. So some of the things that we want to think about is maybe figuring out how you can make more time for yourself, whether it's taking time off from work or making workspace more. Maybe like literally, if you get an hour for lunch, if you're working in a company, you take that hour, you're paid for that hour. I remember when I start instituting that in corporate and I was a director of product development, and everybody knew at a certain time I had it scheduled and I was leaving the building and I wasn't coming back and you could connect with me in an hour. Like those were probably the times where I might have had a cell phone, but it wasn't like they could get you 24/7. But I made that a boundary. So that's what I mean. So if I say taking off time from work or school, and all of a sudden you go, "Oh, I can't take off any more time from work. Like I have my family, I only have 2 weeks in America. And like, you want me to take time off? No, then figure out how you can gain some time for yourself. Do some time blocking because that's important. Schedule massages when you're thinking about doing a mental detox, or cranial sacral or lymph massages. Maybe figure out, do you have a commute to work? Is there a way you could jump on a train, I was going to say plane, a train, or in a van, share with somebody else so that you could maybe just have a really nice conversation or look out the window? Or leave more time when you're going places, because that rush, drive, go does what? It sets that sympathetic system off. And it's like, I'm always on that rush. And it's not allowing you to get into that calming place in your body. Ready for this one? Laugh more and cry more. I just had a patient at the clinic that's going through a difficult time, and she sat down to get in the foot bath and she said, I just want to cry. And I said, cry. And she goes, no, I can't because I'll ruin my mascara. And I'm like, yes, you can cry. Like that's part of releasing. You've got your feet in a foot bath. The herbs are being heated. You're releasing toxicity. I bring foot baths and the herbs over from Germany, and it's a perfect time to cry. There's nobody else around. Like, why would you hold it in? Or yesterday, we talked about the importance of laughter is your best medicine, right? Like, get that hearty laugh going. I'm taking next week off and I can't wait to laugh and I can't wait to just have so much fun and paddleboard and get out in nature and connect. Unplug from the TV, computer, or radio. Have you ever thought about getting in your car and not turning the radio on and just taking Mother Earth in? Or maybe like leave 10 minutes early so that you could drive by a beach or a mountain that you like that's grounding for you, that can ground you before you get to where you're going, whether it's work or school or a loved one's home. Like I was listening to Brendan Bouchard the other day, and I was quite amazed that he said research now has said that we pick up our phones 100 times a day on average. Our devices have become our life. And it's scary because the more you shut off your devices and you get out in nature and you ground yourself, we're not meant to be on these 24/7. I'll tell you, when I'm done work, I'm done. Like, don't call me. Like, it's not like don't call me. Like, I don't love any of you or my family, but I really don't want to be on a phone. I really just want, I'd rather go visit you if you're 5 or 10 minutes away. Watch how much media you're taking in. This is a biggie. This is a biggie. I had a patient who was really upset about media today and what was being said on channels. And we had to have a download and a release while we were in a cranial sacral session. Like, I don't know. I just like, really be cognizant of what you're taking in because your body, your cells, your whole energy structure, like you're taking it all in. Um, Read an inspiring book. Like, what do you love to read? Maybe it's like nonfiction and you have a favorite author, or maybe it's fiction, or maybe you want to learn something. Play with children. They're like the best, like these infants and toddlers, and you can laugh with them and they just want to have fun. I play with Bodhi half the time when I get home. I'll get on the floor and I'll run in circles. And that's my Maltese for those of you that don't know me. And like I laugh, I enjoy. Maybe take a bubble bath if you like candles. Make sure the candles don't have toxicity in them. You have to be careful of that. Did you realize that? Some of the candles that are out there burning are not healthy for you. So make sure you get a really good quality burn. But a bubble bath or make sure the bubbles are quality. Sorry, I'm throwing it in there. Or an Epsom salt bath. Or maybe you just need a 10-minute, if you have your own office, maybe you just need a 10-minute nap. Or maybe you need to go out to your car and you get to go out your car and just take a nap. How about some stretching? Like often when patients are like doing things like they'll find I'll just be like stretching and I'll stretch my arms out and I'll tilt my neck and I have a little reflexology pad at my feet at my clinic and I'll take my shoes off, in a quick break. Like these are all small things, but what I want to tell you is what we started with. These small things add up. Take a long walk. And as you're going through the cleanse and you're doing these beautiful things, like just be so grateful. But I'm going to tell you what the most important thing is to do. It's to breathe. Like take deep breaths throughout your day because breaths are so cleansing. So let me stop there and pop on and see if anybody has any questions or does anyone want to drop in the comment section like what do they think they're going to do? Like did you think about it as I was talking and what's one thing that you can add to your life? Like what's one thing that you could start doing right now that can add to your life, that can like do that mental detox? Anybody? No? Okay, I'll keep going then and I'll pop back over. So let's talk about how our emotions, we just talked about releasing our emotions, connecting to our emotions, but let's talk about how understanding our emotions are connected to our spiritual wellness and how does that play into detox, right? Like, if we do all these things of having fun and releasing our emotions, how does that play into detox? So, your emotions and your spiritual wellness are intrinsically, like, really 100% linked to your health and well being. And that includes your detox. So, emotions and your toxic load. So, if our emotional state is heavy, like I was just saying, that can influence the level of toxicity in our bodies. So, when we're experiencing negative emotions like stress or anxiety, those of you that have anxiety, next month I'm doing anxiety because we're coming into mental awareness month. So, keep that in mind. Anxiety or sadness, our bodies start to respond by releasing various hormones like your cortisol and your adrenaline. And then they trigger your hormones, trigger your inflammatory processes. So over time, these responses can lead to a toxic buildup. And that, my friends, will lead us towards physical and emotional imbalances. So that's how I started. Like, how are we getting our emotions in check? So, just as much as you want to release emotions in your toxic load, you also want to do emotional releases. So, we get to detoxify our emotions as well. So, I'm sure you guys could all list what some of these are. But they're the ones that we talked about yesterday, which is what I consider your relaxation sort of physical movement in the body. So it's going to be practices like meditation, yoga, journaling, and like even these small, simple conversations with a family or a family member or a friend that help us release the negative emotions. Again, that's accountability. That's calling in and asking for support. You don't have to lone wolf your health. You don't have to do it alone. This is what I'm here for. So, getting rid of those emotions and not letting them play that negativity in your mind. If you want to read anything about spiritual wellness and emotional and how emotionals can make us ill, one of my favorite authors is Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is amazing when it comes to this, and he has amazing retreats. And I only dream to be able to get into one of them one of these days. They fill up quickly, but it's all about like getting, rid of the emotions, and emotions can make us ill. They really can. And as I heal emotions with patients after we get through the physical piece, then they start to feel empowered and enlightened in their body. So, when we're looking at spiritual wellness and detox, our spiritual health can dramatically influence our ability to detoxify. So, when we're thinking of like prayer and meditation, or like I mentioned, spending time in nature, that often leads to a greater sense of peace and calm. And that gets us into the parasympathetic rest and digest state. This emotional support can help you detox by reducing stress, reducing, the cortisol and the adrenaline hormones like we talked about. And if we're reducing that and getting in a calm state, we're shutting the cytokine or the inflammatory response down. Sorry, my brain goes to biology and biochemistry. Does that make sense? So if we're in that like emotional state that's not a happy state, our body thinks we're stressed. You can find the research all day with this. It's really 100% so I love the mind, and I don't think we know a lot about the brain. Dr. Amen has done a lot of work around the brain, and we're getting there, but I just think we don't. That's my personal opinion, just like we don't know a lot about the ocean, I think. So when we're looking at the mind body connection, you hear that all the time. This principle underscores like the interconnectivity of our physical, emotional, and spiritual health. It kind of is like, I think of it as like swimming, like we're moving through life. So positive emotional experiences, spiritual practices, sorry, I should say, can help us lead to physical benefits. such as enhanced immunity, improved gut health, and takes us right back to like our detoxification. Now, remember, when I'm talking about detox, yes, going on a detox protocol, 100% 28-day detox. But I'm also talking about us doing this every day to keep our munctuaries open, to keep our pathways open so we can naturally detox. Because our body wants to be in balance and it wants to detox, but it doesn't need to detox all the sludge and gulge, whether it's from mind and spirituality and emotions like we're talking about today, or whether it's all the other pieces we talked about over the last few days. So the role of mindfulness, that's actually, you can get there through prayer and meditation and other spiritual practices. That actually allows us to connect ourselves to our physical self and enhances our awareness in our bodies. So this heightened awareness can help us better understand our needs, including, are we hungry? Are we tired? Do we need to detox? What food do I need to eat because I'm feeling a little off? What activity do I get to do right now? These all support our detox processes. So, as we embrace this emotional and spiritual wellness that we get to work on every single day to be free and lead our life, when I say you are all leaders and high performers, you are a leader and high performer in your life. You wake up every day, you show up every day, you live your life. But if you wake up and what I call in the drift and you just kind of go through life and you're like, whoa, what just happened? The day is over. You don't have a goal. That mindset. So that's leading your life, knowing where you want to go, knowing who you get to be, and then having God or some sort of spirituality get you there and get you in a positive mindset. That's how you journey through life, and that's how you become successful. And I don't mean become, but I mean that's how you are successful in your own life. But if you just wake up and you're kind of like negative emotion and you really don't feel good and you really just don't want to get out of bed and you really just want to go to sleep, and why should I get up? There's nothing to go for. Let me tell you what, life is amazing. It's amazing, but you just haven't figured out which way you want to go yet. So I encourage you to step into your vision and lead your life so you know where you're going. So let me stop there before I get into stress and detox, the connection. Is there any questions? Let's see. I thought about you and my breathing this morning as I was in the elliptical. That's awesome. I love that. So she thought about breathing, right? So we're hearing it. How can we integrate? Denise has been on a wellness journey for a while with food and nutrition. So now she's learning different ways to add in that can help her be healthier. And then Jacqueline is saying she's going to add in breath work into her routine. Fantastic. See, these small steps that you all get to take are small steps. I remember when I didn't breathe enough, and you know those, I don't have one here, but you know those little yellow stickies? I would put it on my windshield on my driver in my car. I would put it on my computer. I would put it, well, I didn't have a phone back then. I put it in my kitchen on my refrigerator. I mean, I had a phone, but not a phone that we lived on. I put it near my bathroom mirror. And you know what it simply said? Don't forget to breathe. Because I used to just hold my breath all the time. What you don't all understand is I may be here now, but you may be someplace else where I'm trying to get to and I haven't gotten there yet. And I'm merely just mirroring you and showing up for you as a conduit to your healing. Does that all make sense? Just sharing my knowledge. And then those of you that are working with me, you get this in your pocket every day. You can reach out to me. So let's talk about if we have impairment in certain organs, how is that going to affect us? So this in particular is stress. And I know the word stress is thrown around, and I don't know who's tired of hearing the word stress. You can just be like, you just put too much on your plate to do, or you're getting, whipped around because of the way the world is and the negativity. I don't know what the answer is, but What I do know is one of the key things is we talked about the liver being the major detoxifier. And the liver is if you take any drugs and things, the liver has to detox, it has to decide where it's going to go. I won't get into the physiology. The hormones all come through the liver. So if somebody has a hormonal imbalance, I'm making sure the liver is more open. It doesn't have sludge and drudge and things in it. So if you have impaired liver function because you're stressed out, you're producing a tremendous amount of cortisol. That's your stress hormone, and adrenaline. So now the liver has to work extra hard to break your hormones down. That hormone down, cortisol and adrenaline. I'm getting tongue tied here. So then what happens is this diverts the liver away from detoxification because it's so busy trying to help that stress response because you're trying to get away from that bear, or you're just trying to get something done and you're under a tremendous amount of stress because you put yourself there. We all put ourselves there. Do you know 100% is possible 100% of the time? And if it's to be, it's up to me. Like, think about that. We put ourselves under this, just like me, have done it too. So what's going to happen is it's going to impair the liver's primary function, because the liver's going to help you get that stress under control. The other piece, which I talk about a lot in all of my master classes, is gut health disruption. So if you have chronic stress, you're not able to relax. When you can't relax, you're disrupting your balance of your gut microbiome, which is your good neighbors. So bad neighbors can come in, and it can lead to a decrease in diversity of your gut bacteria. It impairs digestion and the absorption of nutrients, and it can lead to leaky gut. So those of you that know leaky gut, so this syndrome, leaky gut syndrome, allows toxins and harmful substances to leak from the intestines into the bloodstream. Truth. And that adds to the body's toxic load. So all this stress, then the gut can't do the job, the digestion can't do the job, the bowels can't do the job. You could end up with leaky gut. Then you have more toxicity going around the body. So now your body has to work extra hard. So are you all seeing the importance of detoxing the whole body, the total body? The other thing that it can do under chronic stress, if we're not getting to that mindfulness and spiritual practices that we just talked about, it suppresses the immune system. Stress can stop the immune system from functioning, which plays a huge role in identifying, eliminating toxins, and getting those foreign substances out of our body. This just happened in the pandemic. So many people were under fear, bless their hearts, because they didn't know where they were coming or going, or what is right or what is wrong, and what should I do, and I don't want to die. Like, holy cow, that's a lot. So now I'm dealing with a lot of patients with tremendous amount of stresses, that even patients that I've seen for 15 years, that I've never seen this with them. So you don't want to suppress your immune system, because I want my immune system to be 100% strong and connected. And often you'll see me talk about, if you want to know what immune support herbs or immune foods are, I have a whole website. I blog all the time, simplehealthnh.com. I 100%, let me throw the banner up here. Do I have it? Yeah. So you can go onto my website here, simplehealthnh.com. And if there's a particular, hormone or something, I'm sure I've written it. I write weekly blogs that go out, and my team posts it on the website. So I'm constantly in research and supporting. The other piece that we want to talk about is endocrine disruptors. So stress can disrupt your endocrine function, right? And that can lead to hormonal balances. And like we just talked about, the hormones are playing a crucial role in regulating not only your metabolism, but also detoxing. So I'm just giving brief overviews. I'm not going deep in here. So I just want you to kind of see where we're at. So impaired neurological function, right? This is where stress hormones can affect your brain from functioning, impairing or even stopping its ability to communicate with the body's detox systems. So you hear a lot now, or maybe I do more so than ever, but with all the stress, you hear people say, I have an HP axis disruption. That's your hypothalamus that is in your brain telling your pituitary to tell your adrenal, like huge stress. HPA itself, without going into all the biochemistry of it, it regulates so many processes. And one of them is detoxification. So this can be disrupted during stress. We already talked about the last one that I want to talk about, and that is inflammation. Same thing with leaky gut. This relates to this as well. So chronic stress also leads to systemic inflammation. Leaky gut is systemic inflammation. Systemic inflammation means, a toxic load gets into the blood. And then that puts even more pressure on the ability for your body to detox. So I want to hear from you now because I've been talking a lot and you all know like I love to like connect with you. So I want to know like what are some stress management techniques that we discussed yesterday? We even discussed them today. And I want you to drop them in the chat. Just give me one. Each person just give me one. Let me pop over to comments here. Give me one from each person if you can. I know we have a lot of people online here, but I'm happy to just take a breather. What is one stress management technique? Come on, guys. I'm not in this alone. Deep breathing. Love it. What's another one? Instagram, you want to share one with me? Meditation and breathing. Meditate. 100%. Keeping a calm state. Another one is yoga, stretching. I mean, I have some individuals at my clinic that don't want to be called yoga because of their Christian faith. It doesn't feel right. So we just call it stretching. Like it doesn't have to be called fancy. So all of those are 100% on. The most vital one that I want you to remember is sleep, right? Because what do we do when we sleep? We heal. We heal. All right. Before I get into the mindfulness and meditation practices for the holistic detox and naturopathic detox, I want to know right now, what is your biggest health challenge that you have not been able to solve? Is there a health challenge that you are currently working on with a practitioner and feeling like you're not getting anywhere? Feeling like there's no answers, feeling like, are you ever going to get better? I want to know, drop it in the chat. What are we suffering from here? Well, I mean, I can share one. I'm suffering with the fact that we are losing so many amazing healthcare workers. That just brings tears to my eyes. We are losing so many workers because of what just went on. And so now, we already have a sick care country, but now even more, I feel like on my level, I get to ramp up. So that's going to take me energy that I get to figure out. So might not be a health condition, but it's a health care condition for all of you. Yes, I love that. Raising your sleep. Insomnia is one of the biggest. I'm not saying, Denise, you have insomnia, but not sleeping is one of the biggest issues in our country. And so many people go to bed at night and they have one of two scenarios. Either they go to bed and they're so exhausted because they've pushed throughout the day and they just can't push anymore. So they're just like, oh, I'm out. I'm going to bed. Or the other option is you go to bed and you fall asleep, but boom, you wake up around a certain time every night. and then you can't get back to sleep. So when I hear that, like sleep issues, I'm going to share with you one of two things if you haven't like thought about this. You either may need a protein before bed or a fat before bed. And every once in a while, sometimes people need a little bit of a quality carb before bed, but it's usually fat or protein. Um, so you might want to throw that into your um might want to throw that into like thinking like, am I eating enough? Oh, good. Great. So Denise just transferred from a medical doctor. She was seeing a medical doctor and now she's gone. Now she has made the decision to up level her health when we start pivoting because we know we're not getting the care we need. She's now seeing an integrative and functional medicine practitioner. And then she's working with her gynecologist as well. So that's what I love. And you get to show up and ask for what you need. So then Jacqueline's working on sleep as well. So I bet if I probably took a toll here, a lot of you are working on sleep. You know, all the people that are on with me right now, I am sure you're working on sleep. So sleep, I use homeopathy a lot with sleep because I can tip the mind to do something like if I get the mind piece under like I don't want to say control, that's not a good word. I don't love balance, even though we say balance so easily. Life isn't about a balance, but when I can get the mind to like really shut off so that you can sleep, and homeopathy can do those little tweaks, like that's so important, that's so important. So like how many of you would love to have me in your pocket? This came up like 2 or 3 months ago. Like doctor, I had this message from a patient reply, not a patient, sorry. An individual on my email list was like, I just am not ready to go all in with you right now, but I just like love your messaging and I love what you know. And I would love to join your community, but how could I do that? Like how could I have your voice connected to me? How could you motivate me? And that's when I created Doc in Your Pocket. So joinpocketdoc.com has been amazing. People are loving it. It's my messaging, my monthly theme. You get it's not about what you get. It really isn't. Like we're always looking at what do we get? It's about what you do with the messaging and the themes that I create for you, like the handouts. And then once a month, I show up on Zoom with a group of private individuals that can actually ask me questions. And we usually focus on like what I focused on for the month. So it just is like, it was inspiring to me to create this because I don't want to just create things and put them out there and you'd be like, nah, but I want to like show up for you. And so you can get it on your phone and an email if you do email on your phone, which I don't. I try to stay disconnected. You can get them an email on your computer and you can listen to it. And you know what a lot of people are doing now is they're actually journaling while they hear my voice because I ask questions, just like I'm doing here. Like, what are you suffering with? Where do you need support? And so it's just been an amazing, amazing journey. And I'm just grateful to show up for it. So we are still running the special on Pocket Doc. I'm going to drop it into, so you see it, joinpocketdoc.com. And I just like encourage you to take a peek at it. There's a personal message from me a couple times a week. I do a handout. The reason why I do a handout instead of it just coming on the phone, which you could leave it on your phone, but a lot of people download it and they'll take it with them, whether it's like foods or nutrition, or it just depends what's coming up for my heart and what to talk about. And quite honestly, when we get on these lives together once a month and I hear what people are saying, then that's where we actually all get to grow together. Because remember, we started this in the very beginning. is where can you create accountability that will get you to where you're going? Like, where can you create that that's going to take you on that journey? Like, to have me speaking to you, like, this is what I love. I really do. I love seeing patients one on one, but I love groups even more. And even like my own being an entrepreneur, sometimes it's quite lonely. So I belong to masterminds that help me up level and think outside the box. This is how we get ahead. So Pocket Doc is growing. It's just so much fun. I'd love to invite you there. Join pocketdoc.com. And I'll swing back around to that. But, just like think about it. Like just get that in your mind and see if it would work for you. So many people are loving it. And sometimes I get online and nobody shows up. And I'm like, where are all my peeps? I guess nobody has questions because I answer them all, kind of like what we're doing here. All right, so let's jump into mindfulness and meditation. So, again, I can't tell you, I put prayer in here as well because prayer is so important to me. Like, my higher being is God. I have 100% faith in God, and He guides me every single day. But being in connection with your mind, like we talked about in the beginning, and like connecting and grounding yourself, those are powerful tools that are going to play a huge role in detoxing your mind. They're not only going to help you manage your stress levels, but they're also going to help you support your physiology. So, mindfulness has been around forever, and it's the practice and art of being fully present and engaged in the current moment. I do this, so I'm calling myself out as well. How many of you are in the car and you're not even thinking about where you're going, and then you get there and you have no idea what you saw? Right? You have no idea what you saw because you were thinking on your next step. How about like enjoying the journey each minute? And acknowledging and accepting and feeling your feelings and feeling your thoughts and seeing the beauty of the sun in the sky and like just like connecting to your bodily sensations and not have judgment. I had a patient come in today. She's like, I'm not beautiful. I'm not this. I'm not that. And I'm like, okay, hold on a second. We get to do some mindset shifts here. You are beautiful. She was just having a really tough day and she just felt like she was being banged around. But it's so important to have this mindfulness. One of the biggest things that I talk about all the time, every single day, is mindful eating, where you're actually grateful and you're paying full attention to the experience of taking your fork or cutting your meat or eating a vegetable or like enjoying where the vegetable really came from, Mother Earth. Like, do you ever stop and think like a seed is planted in the ground and like this beautiful plant comes up and now we get fruit off of it or we get peas off of it or beans, I don't know, cucumbers that are in season now. But as you really pay attention to your eating and you're focusing and you're drinking, that's both inside and out for your body. So you're actually observing the color of the plate of food, the smells. What does it smell like? The texture, the temperature. Is it too hot to put in your mouth? That's probably one of the only things that you probably pay attention with. And even maybe sounds around you or the sounds of your food, or you're taking your time to chew 15 minutes per bite. Yes, I said 15 minutes per bite. Because when we talked about digestion in the beginning, it's chewing that bolus of food and prepping it for the stomach, and then the stomach preps it for the small intestines. Or if you just go dup, 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 and you swallow it really quickly, like you're in that sympathetic state. So as you mindfully eat, that's going to help you like take in the nutrients that you need, the nutrient absorption that you need. And then, the small intestines is going to decide where it's going to go. And then if you don't need it, the body will detox it. But that's going to help you improve your digestion. And you're going to get better absorption of nutrients when you actually take your time to eat. And then mindful breathing, that kind of goes without saying, where you're really thinking about the oxygen coming in and the carbon dioxide going out, and you're doing deep diaphragmatic breathing. That's going to aid in relaxation, reduce your stress, help you increase your oxygen levels. A lot of these disease states need oxygen, like we need to get rid of them, free radicals. Cancer can't live in high oxygen states. I keep saying cancer because we're dealing with it left and right. And this helps you with that mindful breathing. That helps us move the emotions out. That helps us connect to the body. And it helps us the capacity to actually eliminate toxins. Um, I don't know. Do I want to talk even more deep about meditation? Really, there's a couple different ways to meditate, but really, like, what I want to hit home is that you're with your brain, your body, your mind, and your behavior. So, really, when you decide to go into prayer meditation, find an area that has no distractions, figure out a comfortable position and posture. Sometimes I meditate first thing in the morning, laying down after I wake up, and I do my prayer and I meditation. It's okay. I'm not judging myself. I'm not sitting up straight. I don't have my back against the wall. I'm not sitting on a yoga block. I'm not like uncomfortable. I don't have my legs crossed. It's okay because I know I feel my best doing it that way. Sure, do I do it that way many times in my life? Certainly, but not a lot. Because at the end of the day, what you want to do is focus on no distractions. You want to, as much as possible. And if anybody's ever told you your brain's going to shut off, your brain does not shut off during when you're doing your meditation journey. Your brain never stops, and it's okay, but don't judge yourself. And then just have an open attitude, like what is going to happen in this meditation. You can do guided meditations. I walk many patients through guided meditations, and I've actually even recorded guided meditations for people. And if that's something that people want to see in Pocket Doc, I'd be happy to do that, where I take you through a 20-minute guided meditation. You actually hear my voice. I talk about a topic. I'm probably going to start adding that in. But that will help you visualize and stay present. Like I might have you walk through a field and see a mountain and focus on your breath, but there's so many different guided meditations out there as well. We've got a loving kindness meditation, and that's really loving yourself, grounding in yourself, setting up love for yourself. And towards others as well, but like loving yourself first and getting rid of the negative emotions, like I needed to do what I got to do with that patient today. And then many of you have heard of transcendental meditation. I don't hear about it as much as I used to, I think because my mom practiced it when she was younger, but I'm sure it's out there. Mantras are out there. People can give you mantras. So that's actually taking a mantra, aiming at having like no distracting thoughts, getting yourself into a promoted relaxation, and then allowing the body to repair itself. Because just like meditation and sleep, that helps you repair because you're quieting the mind. You're not shutting off the mind, you're quieting the mind. So as you incorporate these into your practices, then this is like, again, natural healing. It's not difficult. However, when we go to the doctors, they're like, you don't feel good, you can't sleep, here's a pill. How many of your doctors, and I'm not downing doctors. I love doctors. I miss a lot of them who have retired. They're very smart. But how many times have you gone to a doctor and they said, how about let's like think about like changing your food? Their first go-to, which is what their training is. That's what we have to understand, is giving Ambien for sleep. I don't know. I have a patient who has idiopathic insomnia. She's on 9 medications she just started with me to sleep. I nearly fell off my chair. She's an amazing person, but 9 medications, and she's had it since she's a child. So we get to like do a lot of work here. So what would you consider self-care practices that we have discussed over the last 4 days that you can start doing? The reason why I ask you these questions is I want you to be active in what you're thinking about, what I'm supporting you with, how I'm showing up for you to heal. Like, what could you think about doing that self care? I know we talked about breathing. I love that. Sorry, I just popped over and June jumped in and said, "Wow, 15 minutes per bite in big capital letters," and said, "How long would that be for a whole meal?" Like, June, all I can say is, "How big is your meal?" So, and that's really funny. I love that. Love that question. Um, the goal at the end of the day, and I want to wrap up here because I want to be conscientious of your time in an hour, but the goal of June is to like get you connected to like your bite and enjoy your food, you know. So I don't know. It depends how big your meal is. So I love that question. But again, let's go back to my question, like what can you start doing for self-care? We've talked about I prefer chewing 30 times, someone said. VIP. Hydrate well. That's one self-care. Can you increase your water intake? Like I always have a glass of water next to me. How can you ensure that you're drinking half of your body weight in ounces? Eat whole, nutrient dense, nourishing foods. Sleep is another one. Physical activity, mindful movement, gentle exercises like Tai Chi, Qigong, stimulating the lymphatic system, the cardiovascular system, relaxation practices. I'm trying to trigger what you guys could think about for self-care practices. So even if you don't answer me, I won't have hurt feelings, but I'll know that you're at least thinking about them. You know, when we started, an individual said dry brushing. Like she's got to institute that into her, maybe not daily, but you know, you can start doing it. And once you start doing it, might become habit. Epsom salt baths. June, maybe you need to work on mindful eating. That's why you asked that question. Savor each bite. Listen to your body. Are you hungry? I mean, how many of us, just like me, do we eat and then it's like gone and we're like, where did our food go? We didn't even really taste it. How about journaling? I rebrought that back into my life. I had gotten out of it. But now I realize when I write my goals down and I'm grounded in who, you know, how I get to be on my A game and show up for all of you in health and wellness, and also for myself and my family and my relationships, journaling has really been a therapeutic practice for me. And it helps me just emotionally detox and get it on paper so that I can experience my thoughts and feelings. Another one would be digital detox. Could you, if you're an individual that you're on your phone and computer all the time, how could you figure out to cut it back? Look at your screen time. When your phone tells you how long you've been on your screen time, I don't know if they do it daily. I don't know, daily or monthly. I don't, I don't do a lot of, I mean, my computer, it should tell me more than my phone because I'm on my computer with patient charts and stuff and research. But um, think about how you could decrease the digital phone and things around you. The worst thing that you can do is read your phone before you go to bed and have all that blue light. Like these are blue light glasses. You know, I know the ring of the light is in my eyes here, but these are blue light glasses. They're not prescription glasses. They're because I want my eyes. And I have yellow light for at night if I'm working at night. Um, but if you're getting on your screens before you go to bed, that's waking up your brain. So try not to do that. And keep your devices out of your bedroom. Like when I tell patients that, they take a gasp of air. And I want to close by saying self-care, it's not a luxury. It's necessary. As a naturopathic doctor, showing up and doing these pieces and making changes every single day is what gets you towards health. There's no magic bullet, there's no magic pill. We're just helping you with areas that you're maybe not your nutrient um, deficit in. But basically, you get your nutrients from your foods. We talked about in the very beginning macros, proteins, fats, and carbohydrates, then our minerals and our nutrients we're getting from our, vegetables and fruits and things like that. Like, respecting your body and acknowledging the role it plays in supporting you every single day is so important. I didn't get to my health by continually eating and thinking the way I was thinking back when I was 25. I didn't become a naturopath to support each one of you and not show up and walk my talk. I walk my talk. In fact, I just did an article for the 4th of July for all of you, is how to think about having a great 4th of July. And it's not about indulging in all these things, but it's about still enjoying. But how do you get to enjoy that? So if you prioritize these practices that I've talked about, then you're going to enhance the natural body's ability to do a total body detox. I will talk about the detox program that I have for an offer tomorrow. But one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about the Pocket Doc is because it's not like 28 days and I'm done. It's actually walking with you on a journey, showing up with you, sharing with you, guiding you, hearing where you're stopping, and showing up and guiding you on your healing journey. That's what health is. Health is not, I'm going to eat healthy today and I'm going to cut out all my sugar and I'm not going to eat anything. And then I'm going to starve myself. And then tomorrow I'm going to eat whatever I want. And then the next day, I mean, how many people do you know? I don't remember the percentage. I just looked it up. I could Google it for you, but I'm not going to because I'm running over here. But how many people want to lose fat and lose weight and they're still not getting to where they want to go? And it's because of all of our foods and things in the grocery store. I look around and many of you know I can't go into a grocery store because I can't look at what is in people's carts. It said charts. Carts, because I go crazy, especially if they have little babies and children with them. And we're feeding our kids these processed foods. Please help me understand why. Please help me understand why. So joinpocketdoc.com. If you have any questions, tomorrow is not my last day ever, but tomorrow is my last day for the total body detox. And honestly, I think what I'm talking about tomorrow is just putting it all together. Like, how can you create an environment that will help you? How can you create a lifestyle plan that will help you? And then I'm going to show up for questions for all of you. And I'm just grateful that you guys all keep showing up. And I just want to apologize again for what happened yesterday. It was like beyond my mother nature was bigger than me. So joinpocket.com. Are there any questions before we jump off? And thank you for your patience. I know I'm 7 minutes over and I know our time is precious. Is there anything else? I'm working on eliminating some of my medications. Perfect. Make sure you work with a practitioner. If you can, sweetie, just be careful with that, and if you're doing with a practitioner, great. But definitely get your foods in and feel your best. And once you see your levels start to come down, or your doctors, maybe it's cholesterol, maybe it's sugars, once you start to see those come down, then the practitioner will tweak them naturally. That's like the best way. Like, I always tell people oh, great. You're with a naturopath. Awesome. So many, I don't take people off medications. I always send them to the practitioner that gave them that medication, and I have them do their evaluation. And not always, but 9 times out of 10, we're able to decrease the pharmaceutical medication they're on. And, I have so many doctors saying to my patients, I don't know what she's doing, but, whatever she's doing, have her keep doing it. That just cracks me up. But all right, guys, I love you all 100%. You get to create your healing journey. You get to create a protocol that works for you. You get to have me in your back pocket with joinpocketdoc.com. You get to stop struggling. You don't have to keep struggling. Health does not have to be a struggle, but when you continue to make it a struggle, we often make things harder than it is. But I am here for you. I I'm so passionate about this because I was sick. I've been there. And so I can 100% relate. And I am not book material. Every time I see my naturopath, she's like, "Oh my gosh, this should happen, that should happen, but you're not happening that way." And that's what makes me feel like private detective work is where it's at. All right, guys, I love you guys. I will see you all tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. You're welcome. You are welcome. You are welcome. Thank you for showing up and being you. And bring your questions tomorrow because I like interacting with you guys. I love interacting. VIP, please stay on. And I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day or evening wherever you are in this world. You are welcome. Be well, guys.